So, Jeremy.
Yes, sir.
Being the Flava Finessa that you are,
Yes,
being
sir.
the TV personality, being the entrepreneur that you are,
Correct.
where do you see the future of? We'll start off with restaurants.
Oh, restaurants.
Where do you see the future of
It's funny you
restaurants
say
going?
that. I feel like
That's all right. You're gassy. You put out this
I
beautiful
did. I know.
charcuterie board
Oh yeah,
for us.
shout out to the charcuterie board. I don't know if y'all saw it, but it's absolutely amazing, decadent.
That was the funniest way to
So
ever
we
pat
did-
yourself on the back. Shout out to the charcuterie board. You put it here for us. But yeah, shout out.
No, to be honest, bro, I feel like I'm on the cusp of creating what the next level of the restaurant space and food is. You
Okay.
know? Being in the restaurant industry for the last 10 years or so, it like I understand it from a perspective that you would only understand if you were in the trenches.
Okay.
Right? Especially the method in which I found my success. It was, like I say, it's very lean. You know, it's using the utmost creativity with limited resources. So that's pretty much the structure in which I found success. So I'm of the ideology: how do you replicate this, and how do you give the game, and how do you, for lack of a better word, make a smoother transition for the people who are coming next to find success without going through a lot of the bullshit that you had to go through. So to say to your point, where do I see the future of restaurants? It's in a concept that I'm developing called Flava Neighbor, which actually
Great name.
Thank you, my
Great
brother.
name.
Appreciate it, man.
Flava
Flava Neighbor.
You gotta put the
Absolutely.
emphasis on Flava
for
Neighbor.
sure. Flava Neighbor. All right, and basically what this is a restaurant development house. I provide space for up-and-coming concepts to develop their concept while I look to scale their concept in underserved communities. So basically what this does, it's like a record label for chefs, if you will. That's the best way I can kind of put it, you know.
So you're Barry Gordy.
Yeah, man, Barry Gordy for this restaurant game. You
Russell
understand
Simmons.
me? Shout out, Barry, definitely Barry. Definitely Barry.
No, not Rick Rubin.
No. Barry Gordy. Just because, you know, he has so many quotables, man, you know, that I actually live by today, man.
What's one?
One is leaving me, and I had it on the tip of my tongue, and I knew you were going to ask me, and it left me. It'll come back in this conversation, I'm sure.
You know, one of my favorite quotes that you pulled from another rapper, and I forget the rapper's name is.
Jay Prince. I know which one you're going to say.
No, I want to hear you say it because you say it better.
Oh, yeah, no, man. I'd much rather have 10% of a watermelon than 100% of a grape. You feel me?
Dude,
that's Jay Prince right there.
Just so
man.
you know, I source you
Respect.
when I say that to
quote?
others. Yeah. So anybody who's talked to me where I've said that, this is the guy who gave it.
No,
this is the guy who gave it.
Respect, brother.
But it's a mindset.
It is. It
It's a
is.
mindset.
It is. It is. And you have to have belief, man. You have to understand that, man. That really just shows you that the picture is bigger than you. You know what I mean? Like you're only as good as the people that are around you and the crew that you create. Because man, you can't do this shit by yourself. You know what I mean? 100%. So
I mean, some companies can run on less people. Like look
Right.
at Craigslist.
yeah,
They have a smaller crew,
touche.
but
That's a crew.
it's still a crew.
For sure.
It's a tightly knit crew.
For sure.
So,
For sure.
Flava Neighbor,
Yes,
tell us,
sir.
how is this the future of restaurants?
It is, bro, because what this does is it allows to develop quality eating in the communities that need them the most. You know what I mean? Where I'm from, you know, fortunately you can find some good food at the gas station. You can get
And this is Cleveland.
this is Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct. And just coming out here and like being in the restaurant space myself, it's like, man, I know how difficult the lift was for me to get into this space. I knew how difficult the lift was. Like, it was only God, the only reason I even found the partner to be able to start a pop-up. So I know a lot of these things happen by happenstance.
And that was Mark.
Yeah, that was Mark.
Yeah.
Correct. So I know that it's a lot of talent, and especially in the food space, especially with folks of the culture. You know what I mean? We don't always have that back end.
I'm going to apologize you for
Yes,
saying.
sir.
What do you mean, folks of the culture?
Black people, you know what I
Okay.
mean? Brown people, minorities, you know what I mean? Like the people who don't have access to capital or access to ready capital as a lot of others. And we can go down the rabbit hole on that topic. That's for a different time. But
We don't have to go down the rabbit hole,
No,
but
for sure.
identifying it.
yeah, 100%.
There's a lot of talent
Yes.
that's being missed out on.
100%. Just
There's a
because
lot.
lack of resources, lack of understanding. So what Flava Neighbor provides is that it puts multiple concepts under one roof. Two things happen there. They have to synergetically work together, which makes, you know what I mean? So we have different restaurants, and restaurants are usually competing, right?
Yeah.
But being in the same space, sharing your concept with somebody else, like a brother has to be bond because you're sharing space. You know what I mean? This is not just you. You know what I mean? You know this is a step to get you to the next step. So what that does, it on a foundational level, it establishes community in this space, which is very, very, very important. Very important. So from the community that's established, it gives you the opportunity to run your own brick and mortar without the overhead of having to run a full brick and mortar. You know what I mean? You understand? Because you're splitting everything down the middle. You're splitting everything from the bills to the rent to all these utilities, and it gives you a leaner method to really get your brand out there.
Yeah.
And just me coming from that space, like understanding, like, yo, ghost kitchens are whatever, you know what I mean? They're functional for what they do, but to get in a ghost kitchen is very expensive. You know what I mean? It's damn near the same amount it would take to get into a restaurant space.
Really?
100%. Like, don't get that shit
you're
twisted.
Not just educating us, you're educating me right now.
No, respect, bro.
So
it's like damn near like 40 grand to get into one of those spaces, man. Like,
it was supposed to be a leaner option.
100, and that's how they fool you, but they add so many extra things on. But that's another story anyway. I ain't gonna bash all the ghost kitchens, man. Shout out to you if you get.
Because I know you like to lead with positivity.
Yeah, man. Listen, 100%, man. Listen.
So one thing that's interesting about what you said, and I know you even mentioned we could go down a rabbit hole.
For sure.
But let's just acknowledge the thing. Let's just acknowledge it for what
Absolutely.
it is. If we're acknowledging the problem is that the minorities don't have enough of the resources,
correct.
You did the opposite. You said, I'm going to take this problem and turn it into an opportunity.
100%.
And that's awesome.
No, I appreciate it, brother.
That's like escalating an ability of an entrepreneur.
Correct.
Which is what
Correct.
you are, because you started, you've
Correct.
hustled your way, you worked with other people.
Right.
And that's awesome.
And it's empowerment too, because at the end of the day, man, you can only move as far as you feel you can make it. You know what I mean? And like, I feel like, especially in this space, like giving folks the opportunity, and just to go back, I know how important it is to have your own space. And like I say, what's missing from the ghost kitchen is the soul. It's a ghost kitchen for a reason, because it's soulless. You know what I mean? With your own brick and mortar, you can actually bring people into your experience. And that's how I found my success. People weren't just buying my food. They were buying me. They were buying the love that I was getting. They were buying the fact that they could come and see my face and know that, oh, man, my day just got a little better. You know what I mean? So it's those personal touches that were fucking imperative for me to find my success in this space, you know? And I know that, you know, and I want each concept that I work with and continue to develop it to understand that and use those same ideologies, touching the people and letting the people see you and letting the people know who's making their food and know that, no, I may have tweaked this recipe because you told me, you gave me some feedback on this. You know what I mean? Directly, You said, this might need a little bit more cayenne, or this might need a little bit more paprika, whatever the case is, you know, and I made that adjustment. And it gives you another personal touch to the community.
It's a feedback loop.
100%. Yeah. 100%. Because at the end of the day, that period of time where you're in the Flava Neighbor concept, it's an incubator of sorts. You're testing things out. You're seeing what sticks. You're throwing shit against the wall to see what sticks. See how to maximize your experience to the most. What dish is going to bring out me? What dish am I going to give the people that they're going to keep coming back for? And like I say, I was built on simplicity. So each concept that I develop and work with, like the menu is pretty simple. You know what I mean? It's straight to the point. It sticks with the basics. And you can always pivot off of those things, but you need to have your foundation. And your foundation shouldn't be too big.
So educate me a little more on the concept.
Absolutely.
If two concepts are in a building at the same time, do they operate and open doors at the same time too?
See, these are some of the things I test out because yes and no. Like it's a period of overlap, you know what I mean? But ideally, when you want a space, you want the space to be you. You know what I mean? So it really kind of depends on the concept. So if I had a dessert concept and I had a barbecue concept, they could definitely be operational at the same time.
It seems like they would almost help each other.
100%. So
because if one's got hype and been maybe in concept for 8 months and another one just gets introduced, it's almost like a television show that has a built-in audience.
Correct.
And then you have your lead-in.
100%. That's it.
Damn.
That's it, bro. That's it, man. And it's a synergetic, man. It's a synergetic build. And the most important part of the concepts have to be in communication. The concepts have to find that energy. Like you have to, it teaches you to put your ego aside and understand that we're all learning here. And at the end of the day, we all have the common goal of getting to that next level, which is that scalable restaurant in that community.
Do you help them? If let's say a concept is just busting, it's just
big busting.
You know what I mean? It's just doing its thing. Do you help them move out of that into another?
100%. That's the Flava Neighbor way. You know what I mean? Like it's paving it. You know what I mean? I want to be a part of your journey the whole time we rock it. You know, like I say, it goes back. I'd rather have 10% of that watermelon than 100% of that grape. You know what I mean? I'm cool with 2 points on the side if I help you, you know what I mean, take it to the next level. And then, hey, we do six more locations after this? Layup. You know, I'm happy, you happy. You know what I mean? We helping the community. Like, we're putting quality food back in the community to the people who need it the most. And
so
it's a win-win.
If I'm understanding this correctly,
yes, sir.
You created a franchise model out of hyper-localism.
You said it better than me.
That's amazing. No,
Respect.
Because what you're talking about, and correct me if I'm wrong, you develop a concept within the community. So you're taking talent from the community.
Correct.
So whatever that culture is in that community, it's going to identify with the cuisine that you're talking about. It's going to really reach their customer. That's what you're celebrating, giving them their opportunity.
100%.
So they don't have as much in their pocket, but they definitely have the heart and they have the talent. And you're just helping them
consistency. That
last mile style work and almost like the business of doing business.
Correct.
Which I feel like people get stuck on a lot of times.
Definitely.
So that happens from you. And then if they do well, you're helping scale.
Correct.
So if an investor was with Flava Neighbor, it's almost like you almost get to own 10 McDonald's, right? Because people like to invest in franchises because it's producing a certain amount of quality, but more at the end of the day, it's producing a certain type of return.
Definitely.
In your case, it's doing both. It's giving the community what it needs because it's its individualism, but through Flava Neighbor, you're replicating success, which is hard.
Yes.
Hard to do it in the restaurant industry.
Extremely.
That's
extremely.
Dope.
Love, brother. I appreciate it, man.
Usually I don't go on a run when I'm with a guest because it's about you, because you're sharing your knowledge, but I just wanted to make sure we're on the same page because that was inspiring.
Spot on, brother.
Spot
on, man. Spot on, my brother. You hit the nail on the head, man.
Because it seems like an archaic industry with a lot of just old world things because people have almost accepted, no, this is the way it is. This is the way it is.
I don't like that shit, bro. I don't like nothing.
I agree with you. That's why this is named Future Forward.
The defiant ones, to say the least, man. Like, and I think I got that from a young age, man. Like, because when I used to do stupid shit, my mom used to always say, "You're gonna be just like your brother." And me being just like my brother, because my brother was a smart dude. He was just doing reckless shit, fucked up a lot, and I never wanted to be compared to that. So I feel like internally, I always took that like I would never be like anybody ever else other than me. I would create my own way, my own lane, and so
That's your brother how's your brother doing these days?
He's doing good, man.
Oh, good.
He's a fucking creative genius damn near, man. Like fucking
name?
writer, multi-hyphen. James Quincy McBryde. Big bro, man. I love you like a fat kid love cake.
Hey, you're going to like this. Shout out to James. I had to bite it. It's
big shout out. No,
big shout out.
Listen, you got it, champ. Trust me, man.
So in this new, this is really cool.
Yeah, thank you,
You
brother.
know, as you know, I am an investor on multiple levels, but that's cool.
Yes.
That's really cool.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it,
because
man.
I love seeing innovation, especially places that are just old.
Yeah, man.
You know, they have old world thinking.
Shaking up, man. Like shaking up industries, man. Like I'm a disruptor, man, if you will.
Very
man.
much so.
You know?
But I don't know.
The most positive way, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Because disruptor almost has a negative connotation and it's almost become too much of a buzzword.
Yeah.
But you're disrupting, but you're in a reciprocal way.
Respectfully.
Because the way I'm hearing your story is that you're helping community, building off culture.
Correct.
And you're helping scale it and giving them testing grounds. So, okay, give me the worst case scenario in this environment. What happens if somebody fails and they're just not getting traction? What happens?
All right, it can go two ways. So basically, it's either a 6 month or a year situation.
Okay.
So if we're like, it's all about looking at the numbers, man. At the end of the day, the numbers don't lie. You know what I mean? So
numbers don't lie.
They don't. You know what I mean? It's measurable acts. Like, all right, bro. Like, we can, and it goes like like I say, a lot of stuff. You know, still it's a work in progress. So there's certain things that I'm still fine tuning in this method. But if after 6 months you average $200 a day in sales, then like you gotta look at yourself. Like, what is this really? What, you know what I mean? Does this really work?
Yeah.
So it might be a situation where we need to go back to the drawing board. Like if I've seen that you have the what it takes, you know, like I see that you have the work ethic, I see you have the passion, then, and you're open to flipping maybe the concept, I'll be open to that as well, you know. But I do my homework before I work with these concepts, so I try to alleviate that as much as possible. Like you have to, before you even get into Flava Neighbor, you would have to have grind for a certain period of time. Like all the the two concepts I started working off initially, like I watched those brothers for like a year or so, like just watching their development and watching how they move and them solidifying themselves in the space. So you got to do the work. So I'm not just like bringing anybody into cold turkey. Like you have had to have proven yourself in
some form or fashion.
For sure. So if worst case scenario that I feel like you've proven yourself and then I would get you in there and it doesn't work, then like we meet at a crossroads. It's like, yo, you might need to go back to that pop-up space. You might just might not be ready if that's the concept that you want to stick with. Or we can try something else, but you still have to go back to the pop-up space to iron out those kinks.
It's so, when you're talking, So I have a lot of background in tech.
Yes, sir.
And we do a lot of A and B testing, a lot of user acceptance testing, but we're able to be agile because it's just code.
Correct.
The way you're talking about it almost seems like you've created a real world tangible version of doing A/B testing, user acceptance testing, and you can take these feedback loops and make changes.
Correct.
So while the framework for what you have is static to a point, it's really dynamic.
Right.
So if not just the culture, but if the industry of restaurants changed, because let's say it's 20 years from now,
Right.
and more people are biting your style and they're doing their own concepts,
it's coming.
it seems like you can be agile and continuously change the model.
Definitely, 100%. And like I said, what I have going for me in this space is that unless you in it, you really don't even understand that this needs to be done. You know what I mean? And you have to have.
I don't know what you mean, so tell me what you mean.
Okay, so like unless you're in the trenches, unless you built some shit, like I built it, like personally, like I'm basing all this off of my own like real life experience. You know what I mean? My own touch with the community. You know what I mean? Like creating a restaurant in Skid Row. Like I'm not from here. Like I didn't even realize.
No, I've been to the spot. Yeah.
Didn't even realize like what the negative cloud was over Skid Row, and finding success there, and just creating a spot that people feel comfortable in to come. Like understanding that portion and how to apply it to others. Like you don't know that shit because you didn't go through it. You know what I mean? So you, even though you might have knowledge of executing something in a similar fashion, the heart won't be the same because you haven't gone through it to really understand it.
So this is something I've heard. It was from this one guy I've worked with in some of our other business stuff. His name's Chet Thomas. He's actually a former pro skater.
Oh, shout out Chet.
And he's, big business. Awesome guy on so many levels.
Dope.
He really is. But he said something, and I know, other people have said it before, but it's something to the effect, and I'm sure I'm going to butcher it, that past success is not an indicator of future returns.
No.
You know what I mean? Or something to that effect.
Yeah,
and it's like, you can't just repeat it all the time.
Right.
A lot of people do, they buy into the hype, like, I was successful in this, I'm going to go do this.
Yep.
And then it's like, whack. No, reality hits you. The only way you can repeat success, it seems like, from my own experiences, you got to come into it with the beginner's mentality.
Definitely.
Just wanting to soak it up and learn, right? That's
Definitely.
But if you're helping, those who would join a concept sound like they're coachable, right?
You have to be like, you have to like, it's certain criteria, man. Like you have to be a team player, like first and foremost, and not just with your team, with community, a team, because this isn't just about you. You know what I mean? And I can't get that through, the concepts I work through enough. Like, this is about the team. You know what I mean? Like this group is going to help you. Like we each feed each other, so we have to put egos to the side as much as possible. You know what I mean? Even though it's difficult, especially if you never really had to do it, So, like I say, just identifying those people who can do that, man, are fucking imperative.
So, when you were talking just now, so have you ever read Kitchen Confidential, Anthony Bourdain's book?
You know what? I started reading it in the airport. I set it down and left, and somebody stole my damn book. Oh, God. Yeah, man. I think I got through like the first chapter of that joint, but
But, so he talks about all the, just crazy shit they do in the back. How does that work out in the concept? Like...
No, respect.
Because it still plays out.
Yeah, no, it does. And I think that's just where the synergy has to lie. You know what I mean? Just knowing that, kitchen life is kitchen life, man. What happens behind those doors, man, it stays behind those doors. You know what I mean? So everybody coming in knowing that, like shit, we gonna rock back here, man. But we gonna make sure we put out the most the best possible product.
Yeah. Well, because it seems like it does. Walking through those doors becomes a different type of culture.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yes, people are coming from, but you ended up creating your own culture inside those doors.
Correct.
I've been in the food and beverage industry before, and it was a grind.
Yes, to say the least.
But if you like it, you enjoy it.
Right.
And it becomes fun in a weird way. And there's all kinds of weird little things that end up happening.
Definitely.
You create all these little things like. I remember we would play a game similar to Waiting, but not quite as gnarly. You remember that part in Waiting?
Oh, yeah. Yep. I know exactly what you're talking about. Not as gnarly, though.
But not as gnarly. But, you do create these little games just because you're with each other.
Yeah.
So you could choose to be pissed, angry, or whatever, or you could just choose to enjoy your day.
Straight up.
So,
the choice is yours, man.
Yeah. So within this concept, are you going to accept crypto?
Absolutely.